Today we're going to talk about negation a little bit, and when I talk about making a sentence negative, that does not mean it in an emotional sense, like I'm going to make a sentence be sad or mad or bad sounding, but that I'm going to make it negative in a grammatical sense, meaning I'm going to put the word not in there somewhere so that it becomes the opposite of a sentence. So an example of this, a positive sentence would be I like chocolate. A negative sentence would be I don't like chocolate. So in order to do this in French, what you're going to do is you're going to put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. So in our example, we have the phrase ça va, or in this case it's not a question, ça va. And then we can make it negative by saying ça ne va pas. And the definition here would be ça va by itself kind of means like I'm fine, or if someone said how's it going, you said it's going. And when I put ne pas in there, it's going to mean now that I'm not fine. Or if someone said how's it going, you're like it's not going, right? And we like to refer to the ne pas as what we call the ne pas sandwich, because we've got ne on one side, pas on the other, and our verb is our meat in the middle of our sandwich. And and if you make a sandwich without both parts, the top part of the bread and the bottom part of the bread, it's not a very good sandwich. And the same is true here. If you try to make a negative sentence without the ne or without the pas, it's not going to be a very good negative sentence. So the only other thing you need to know is that before a verb that starts with a vowel, your ne is going to change to an apostrophe. And this is very similar to what you learned about with articles, how we would change the article that would be before a noun starting with a vowel from being le or la to being el apostrophe. Same deal here. The French don't like having a hiccup sound. So if I did not change the N to an N apostrophe here, it would say Cléa ne a pas 15 ans. That is very hard to say. And it's much easier to say Cléa n'a pas 15 ans. That is much easier to say. N'a pas is easier to say, and it sounds smoother, it sounds better than saying ne a pas. And that's going to be the point of changing our ne to an apostrophe. So one other thing that happens is that our articles are going to change a little bit. So if I have a sentence that has un, une, or des in it, and it becomes a negative sentence, I'm going to change either un, une, or des to become de in those negative sentences, or d apostrophe if the next word begins with a vowel. So an example of this would be to say nous avons une chaise, which means we have a chair. And if I want to say we don't have a chair, I need to change that to say nous n'avons pas, right? I make my ne pas sandwich around my verb, and then I have to change this article here to become de. So nous n'avons pas de chaise. And that's all you need to know about negatives. So I want you guys to pause for a sec, take some time to practice right here, and then come on back and see how it looks. So our first one should look like this. Tu n'as pas 12 ans. Le professeur n'a pas une salle de classe. That happens to describe myself pretty frequently. Vous n'avez pas une adresse email. Ça va? Non, ça ne va pas très bien. I added très in there. I made this person have a really bad day. It really says non, ça ne va pas bien. Je n'ai pas 14 ans. Now hopefully you changed 1, 2, 3, and 5 to be an apostrophe, but kept your ne in there in 4, because in all of our other ones, let's bring out the highlighter real quick. Where's my highlighter? There it is. Bring it back up here. So in all of our other ones, our verb starts with a vowel, right? A, E, I, O, or U, and sometimes Y. But in 4, it does not start with a vowel.